G'day, folks, and welcome to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast. I can't believe I'm actually trying an Australian accent as well. I do apologise.
Crikey.
Crikey, Gov. No, that's more Cockney. Anyway, your weekly digest of hobby goodness. Oh, this is going so well. This week, we are very excited to talk to our first Australian guest. All the way. Whereabouts are you from in Australia? Where are you right
Sydney,
now?
Australia.
Sydney,
Yeah,
Australia.
Sydney, Australia. Yep.
Sydney, Australia. Well, Ben Brady, is that how you pronounce your surname?
That is correct. Yeah, Ben Brady.
Marvelous.
Yep. The full name is Benjamino Brady, but it's a bit of a mouthful. So Ben Brady
I
will just do.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Where's that come from as a first name?
Yeah, it's Italian. So I'm part
Ah,
Italian, part Portuguese, but 100% born in Australia. So
wow.
that's what that
Okay.
comes from. Yeah.
Wow.
Bit of a
Okay.
mix up.
Well, I'm going to start off, and I did apologize before we started recording that I was going to do this at various points through the episode. So I'm going to start
You're
off
all right.
by dropping in an Australian stereotype and go, "G'day, Benno."
G'day, Ian.
Do people call you Benno, by the way? Is that of interest?
Yeah, I've got Benno, B, Benny, you name it. It's all
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, yeah,
Although
yeah, yeah.
when Benji kicks in, I'm not a fan of that one because it's usually a name for a dog. So prefer not that one.
Yeah, fair
But
enough.
everything
Fair
else, I'll
enough.
take it. I'll take the
Fair enough.
rest.
Fair enough. All right. No, that's good. No, I said before, I went in my time working in London, especially because I used to work in West End Theatre. I worked with
Oh,
so many Australian people in that time. Close colleagues and people that I hired, and almost all of them to a T would at some point change your name in some way and affectionately call you something that ended in no or something else. There were a couple of suffixes on the end of the names, and it just always
yep.
cracked me up that they did that. Anyway,
Yeah, we take a lot of liberties with people's names. It's a way of kind of like saying that like, hey, we're friends. It's
yeah,
like, now
it's
let's muck them
affectionate.
up. Yeah,
It's
totally.
good. I should also mention that Wesley is here today. However, Wesley is on the road. We've just lost his camera, so I've got no idea if
Uh-oh.
Wesley's going to say hello. Hello, Wesley.
Heyo,
There we go.
here
I
I am.
told you he was here. What happened to your
I tried
camera
to,
just then?
I got my iPad and my phone, and I'm trying to do this all. I'm not really, on the road trying to figure this out. So I tried to turn it sideways so it didn't move as much, and then I just lost you. So
Well,
I'll mark that off the list of
you muffed that up.
something
You
not
muffed
to
that
do.
up. Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
muff that up.
Okay.
Perfect timing too. Can we put another shrimp on the Barbie? Did I do that right? Very
Yep,
American,
yep, that's bang
Australian.
on.
We
Yep,
went there.
perfect.
I just
went
remember
there.
in Dumb and Dumber when that's one of my. I don't know if
Another
you're too
shrimp
young
on
for
the
that, but
Barbie. No, totally remember it.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Ben.
that's the only
You're in for
Australian
a rough hour and a bit. I'm afraid.
Oh no,
Sorry.
you're right. It's okay. I've got the kangaroos tied up out back, so they won't be
Good.
interfering. So you know.
Good. So listen. I will freely admit I hadn't kind of come across you until Marvel Platinum, so that must be quite interesting to suddenly have a new audience for your
Yes,
work. How's
it's
that been? Because
it's been mind blowing. It's been an amazing few weeks. It's been like almost 3 years of like holding onto this kind of art and just waiting. Like when I got the first call to jump aboard, like I used to collect the cars as a kid. I think we all did. And then life gets in the way and you kind of like put it in.
mm,
Everyone kind of came back around like COVID and just got back into that nostalgia. And it was
yeah,
at the same time that Upper Deck reached out. And I was like, at first I thought this was a bit of a scam. I was like, what are they still making cards? And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, this is real. This is actually happening. So yeah, since then until now, this has kind of just been like somewhat of a release of just like, oh my gosh, everyone's finally getting to see it. And just being in this set with so many amazing artists has just been so many moments of like this, I can't believe it's happening. It's pretty crazy.
You've just touched on about half of my talking points for this episode.
Yeah,
This is going
sorry.
really well. So I want to know. So tell us about that call.
Yeah,
I mean, was it actually a call or was it an email? Because I imagine there's a bit of a time
no,
difference there.
it was an email. It was an email. The future of phone calls, I guess, these days. But yeah, no. So it's they just sent me an email. Erica, who's the art director there, reached out and asked if I'd be interested in doing something with Upper Deck and if I knew of the company. And I was like, I remember that company well. And then they're like, yep, sign this, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden they're like, would you like to work on a Marvel product? And my head exploded. So yeah, I was like, 100%, I'm in, whatever you want, I'm in there. So yeah, it was great. Like since that, like they sent me a list of characters that they had, and I was able to pick a few for this set. I actually worked on the upcoming Flare set first.
Oh,
So
interesting. Okay.
yeah, so I actually got to do work for that first, and then this came, Platinum came afterwards. So
Mm.
it was awesome to come on and be like, yeah, I can jump in another set too. So I was glad that they were happy with what I'd done for the previous set. So
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
it all
So
worked
we're
out
going to see
well.
we're seeing it out of order then.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
in Platinum, let's have a. Sorry, I've got the checklist here on one of the browser windows I've got open. So you have five. Is it five? Yeah, five pieces of
Yes.
original art in Platinum. So tell us, when you got that list of characters that you were going to choose, was some already taken, or was it just like which of these do you like, and then you go back and they say, well,
Yes.
actually, some of these are gone.
Yeah, it was pretty much, it felt like a list of characters that were remaining. I
Okay.
imagine they'd obviously commissioned a few of those to a few other artists already. It
Mm.
was still a pretty decent list, and there was still a few strong characters. They were on there. Like as soon as I saw an X-Men on there, I just went, "Yep, Angel, bang, I'm grabbing that,
Yeah.
please." That was the only X-Men that was left on the list, and I was like, "That's fine,
Oh
I'll take
wow,
it."
that's a pretty decent
Um,
one.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I was pretty happy to grab that. And then obviously, like I'm a Daredevil fan. And the Avenger to come out, and Captain Marvel had this amazing scene in
Mm.
Infinity War. I was just like, all right, boom, boom, but I just picked them pretty quickly. I was like, I'd love to do that. I'd love to do this. Yeah, so that was awesome. It was awesome that they had so many cool characters to play with.
I'm just going to pull a couple up on screen while we're talking about them because this is this Angel piece. I love it. I didn't pull it actually. I didn't. The ones I got were Vision and Captain Marvel in my one box that I
That's
bought.
I mean, just
That was fun.
wow.
That was fun. That was fun. Yeah, I
Angel
was
is
I was
sorry, I was gonna say he's one of my favorite characters as well. So it's
oh, I'm so
that's
glad.
awesome.
It did come with a little bit of pressure. So the funny thing is like you're playing with these characters that we all love, and at the same
Mm.
time, like I'm excited to work on it, but at the same time, you want to do them justice and make sure that the
Yeah.
fans love it. So there has been that moment of like seeing everyone's reaction and everyone enjoying it. That's really made it like, okay, I've done a good job. Everyone's happy.
Yeah, yeah, you
Yay.
can relax a bit now. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but yeah, this one was cool. I kind of wanted to give it this kind of like fear, like do not fear, like coming down from the heavens to kind of calm the people that you're like, I'm here to save the day.
Mm.
I think it came across pretty good, pulled it
You
off.
know,
So I was
you know
Yeah,
really
what it
happy with that.
reminds me of? It really reminds me of, and this is in a good way, and I'm not blowing smoke up your ass here, but it really reminds me of Alex Ross Marvels. Just
Yeah,
the kind of
I've
the costume of it, the perspective, just the color scheme of it. I just yeah, just when I first saw it, I honestly thought, is that a cover from Marvels or something?
Oh, well, I really appreciate that. And yeah, I've had others say the same thing, which is such, yeah, that's quite a compliment. So thank you. Yeah, I wanted it to really have that kind of classic feel of like the X-Men and like keep the costume feeling somewhat like
Mm.
real and natural. And yeah, maybe I wasn't like, bringing a little bit of Alex Ross into it, even with that lighting, with the harsh white lighting coming over it. So yeah, subconsciously I might have been like thinking that too. So
There's no
yeah, here
harm.
we go.
There's no harm channeling a bit of Alex Ross. That's for
No,
sure.
no, he's amazing. So
Um,
yeah,
and just before, and again, I can't remember if this was before we kind of officially started recording because I know we were recording before. But you
you're right.
mentioned when you got this call, you went out and looked at the work of which artists was it you mentioned?
Hildebrand. So that was the set, obviously, like their set growing up as a
Mm,
kid. That art made such a mark on me. As like there was like a set, like I was always into comics as a kid. Didn't always have the means to go and enjoy every book that I would have liked,
mm,
but when I did, I was like super happy. But then when we saw these cards starting to float around, and I was always drawing as a kid, and then you see the art like taking these characters taken to such a realistic and
yeah.
dynamic level, and you're just like, this just is amazing. So I tried to grab as many of those as I could. But yeah, these art books and things, I don't know if they existed at the time, probably not. But yeah, being looking at, comic art and already being inspired, and then seeing it, these characters taken to such a, I don't
Mm,
know what you'd call it, but it's just another level of art,
yeah.
quality that it just, yeah, it's like a seriousness of those characters that I just really appreciated, and was like,
Mm,
if I could ever do something like this, like at the time, I never thought it possible, but
yeah.
that's why, again, this is just one of those moments where I'm like, can't compute how this has all worked out, but here we
Yeah.
are.
It's just the lights, just kind of, obviously, yeah, as influences go, they're pretty amazing, just the stuff they do with the light.
Yeah.
Dan Dos Santos has been quite um open about a lot of his work has got, the lighting in it, and the way that he's done it is he freely admits that Hildebrands were very much a big inspiration to him in terms of the way that he finished his pieces. How long did I mean, they're probably all different lengths, but kind of what's your kind of average kind of time for these? Are they all physical creations, or are they digital as well? Or
These are all digital.
okay,
If I had the skill level at the time, I would have loved to have done these traditionally. But yeah, these are all digital, and I would have spent about a week on average. Like I was still working full time and doing everything else.
yeah,
So I would spend about a week on these each. So they were quite nice about, like Erica was quite nice and asking like, how many would you be able to do and such. And I
mm,
had to, like, there was a deadline, and I was like, look, I want to do a great job, and I'd love to do them all, but at the same time, I want to make sure that I deliver a level of quality,
yeah,
and that I obviously hit that deadline. So I felt that 5 would have been more than comfortable to do. So
yeah.
yeah, this was the 5.
Yeah, so there's Angel. Hang on, I've not clicked on this little arrow here. Oh wow, okay, there we go. I didn't realise you'd put other things in the post. So you've got a little
Yeah,
close-up image of
this
your. Go,
that
carry
that
on.
was pretty. No, no, sorry, I was going to say this was quite a moment seeing your art on an X-Men cover.
Yeah, well,
Again,
yeah, but seeing it on the sell sheet as well, it's like
yeah.
that's pretty cool. That must be quite. What's it? I was going to save this for later, but I'm just curious to know, how does it feel to be amongst some of the artists that are on this set? I mean, you've got Sienkiewicz, you've got
Yep,
Allred, you've got Tom Fleming. You've got some
yep.
pretty
Got
punchy.
Palumbo.
Yeah, Ron Lim.
You've got yep, just so many. Like yeah, it was kind of mind blowing. Like when I first saw the sales sheet for this come out, and I saw like Bill Sinkovich, although my art doesn't necessarily reflect and match his work is kind of what got me back into comics as
Yeah.
like a young adult.
Mm,
And Elektra, like Assassin, was one of those books that I was like, all right,
yeah.
I'm in. I'm 100% back in. That book just like brought me back into the game in a big way. And then to see his name, my art was going to be somewhat associated with his work was just like, yeah, thank you very much. I can go now. This is perfect. So yeah, I was pretty amazed. Then I had another moment just the other day where I was like just putting together some of the cards that I'd pulled so far from
Hmm.
box openings, and realized that in on the ninth panel, as I was putting my cards were on the same as Dave Palumbo's works.
No.
And I was just like, oh, another moment. It's just like this is too good to be true.
See,
Makes
Dave,
sense.
Dave is such a nice guy as well.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll be equally tickled pink to be alongside yours. I often wonder in my head, and I know this is wholly unrealistic these days. I mean, back in the 80s, you know, when a lot of the artists working on Marvel books were in New York and they were all together and they all hung out, you know, I kind of like to imagine there being like a mixer, a launch party where you all get invited to somewhere by Upper Deck and they take you out for a meal and you have a few bevies and stuff like that. I'm sure that'd be wonderful if that happened, but obviously that doesn't happen at all. But
No,
wouldn't that be great?
that'd be pretty awesome.
That'd be pretty good to go
That'd
along
be
to that
pretty
sort of thing.
amazing.
Yeah, well, that'd be
Yeah.
if they put it in Vegas as well. So anyway, let's not
Oh,
go there.
good.
But you can imagine the hilarity that would ensue.
Hey, you're
Um,
welcome to float that idea out there, so you never know.
well, they listen. They listen.
Jason.
Jason, Mr. Boss of Upper Deck, make that happen. Put a budget line in for the next set with original art and make it happen. I will more than happily come along to document for your social media. Right, let's have a look at let's have a look at another piece. This one was on the sell sheet, and this one I was like, "Hello, Captain Marvel. Tell us about this one because there's. I mean, I love the angle, the perspective of it. You know, there's kind of movement in there as well. What was your kind of starting point for this one where you were kind of working out how, you know, the composition, how it was going to work?
Yeah, I was so in looking at Captain Marvel, if in it is in Endgame, right? I always mix those two up. It was in
True.
Endgame, where she
Yes.
kind of flies through an entire spaceship, and you know they pretty
Yes.
much win the war.
Yeah.
At that point, there's such a turning point. She just took me to like Superman levels, and so I
Yes.
just kind of felt like she had this kind of like Superman-esque feel about her in like the Marvel space. And I know it's probably bad for me to like talk about the other side, but that was that kind of feeling. And so in that, I kind of wanted to give her that feeling we always see, like kind of Superman flying around the
Mm.
Earth's planet. And so I thought it'd be cool to kind of put her in that pose as she's like flying around the planet with like the sun starting to kind of peek through from behind. And so that's kind of, I just ran with that. I just kind of thought that would be a really cool way to kind of depict her just out in space.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like you did such a good job of making some like the background being so epic, and then then the paint is so awesome. It's yeah, that is fantastic.
No, thank you, thank you. Yeah, with all of these, I always was also thinking that they're going to be viewed on small cards. I made sure that it wasn't too noisy, that it was all about the
Mm.
character, and tried to make that really pop on the cards. And if with the looking at Hildebrandt's work, they use a lot of strong primary colors, and everything was just
Yeah.
bright. And I just thought, yes, I'm going to push that in like as much into each piece because
Yeah.
it just looks amazing especially when viewed small.
I have to say, I'm gonna stop sharing for a minute because I want to just this was a concern, you know, for me anyway, that after we had a set come out last year, Flare Ultra Avengers, and the artwork on it was absolutely phenomenal, but the way that the style that they chose to do it, I don't know if you've seen them, but the style that they chose
Yes.
to use had kind of a foiling effect that went diagonally across the card, and it kind of it was very Marmite. You loved it or hated it, or Vegemite, as you guys have.
Mm.
And it was just you kind of felt that the card design took away from the art. But with these, I mean, hashtag nailed it. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah,
you get the background. If anything, the foil effect kind of really leans into those primary colors that you've used. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I love it. Sorry for my shite webcam, everybody, but
No, 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 no.
you get
You're
the
you're
idea.
right on there. Yeah,
You get the idea.
I kind of understand that. Yeah, because I'd heard that as well, that people weren't big fans of the stripes coming through and kind of blocking the background. Whereas in this one, they've kind of accentuated the background with the
Yes,
chrome,
yes,
and it really does kind of sell the art a lot
yeah.
more.
And hats off to Upper Deck. They do listen to feedback on that sort of stuff. So, which is good. I mean, the how many of you? If so, you've been able to open some boxes of this
Yeah,
in Australia.
it's
Did
been
they
a lot.
send you any comps, or did you have to pony up for them?
Oh, I ponied up. I was
Oh,
like,
okay,
yeah,
right,
as soon as they come up for pre-order, I was just like, boom, boom, yep, grab me too.
okay.
And
And
I got another one on the way. So We'll see
Oh
how we
wow!
go.
Oh wow! Okay, so you're collecting the set. So you've got your collector's hat on as well with this set.
Yes.
What are you
Yeah,
going
I do.
for? Are you filling out a base set, or are you going for any of the parallels or the colors or anything like that? There's a
Yes.
lot.
So I was going to try and open into a base set, but that seemed impossible at this stage. So I've just been picking some things up off of eBay. So we're like, I just want the base set. And I love the cover variants. That would be a nice, but I put that in the want basket, not the
Hmm.
need basket. So we
Hmm.
may get there. But yeah, my idea is to try and get a 9 panel of each of my works. And
Do you need that
yeah,
one?
I'm not sure. It's been
That's
such an interesting time.
If you
Everyone
need
has
any
been
of these, you're
so
welcome to them.
no,
I'm not building a
oh
base set.
no, I appreciate that, but I feel like everyone in the community has been so nice, reaching out and in the same way, just offering like, oh, if you want anything, just let me know. And it's
Mm.
like, oh, it's just been the community's been insane. Like they've been so nice and so supportive. So yeah, ideally I'd love to have just 9 panels of each of my works. And I've also just been picking up a few Electra pieces here and there as they
Oh,
come up on eBay. So yeah. And I got a
yeah.
few good ones in a few breaks as well, which I was pretty happy with. So
Oh, nice. You've done some of the break
yeah.
action. Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
yeah. That
I've
Good.
it's
I was gonna say that vision. That's one of my favorites. That's just that's. I'm gonna pull a 9 panel of that myself.
that's awesome. That's so nice to hear. Like I said, like it's you do the art in on your own, but then when everyone else sees it and
Mm.
appreciates it, it just makes it yeah so much more special.
Must be so odd sitting on it for such a long time. I can only equate it to, I don't know, when they film a Star Wars movie and they're sworn to secrecy on all the plot points, and
Yeah,
they
Mm,
have to, they're not allowed alone with their script at the first reading. I mean, I've heard stories of that actually. Scripts are
yeah,
sent out to people and someone's with them while they're reading it,
yeah.
and they're
I
not
can
allowed to
imagine
have
that.
devices and stuff like that. It's the craziest thing.
I think as well as like I think they also get like only the lines that they're supposed to say as well. So they have no
Yeah,
idea of what's actually happening in the
yeah,
film. They're gonna
yeah.
just read their parts. So
Wow.
it's
And
quite
it's
interesting.
all digitally watermarked as well. A lot of this stuff these days. It's just, I mean, I get it, but because
Mm,
people are so keen to find out what's going on. Um,
yeah.
but I guess for you, I mean, you probably couldn't even tell anyone that you were on the set
Nope.
until they solicited it
yeah,
and announced it was going to come out.
Yeah, pretty much. It was like that's why I was
yeah.
so happy that they that the when my art was on the sell sheet, I was like, I can finally say something.
Yeah, yeah,
I was
yeah,
like, otherwise I would have had to have waited for the actual release of the set.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
it was
yeah.
great. I was able to show a little something on the way.
Quick, update my portfolio. The sell sheet's out.
Yeah, 100%.
Get it
First
on the
thing I did
website.
that day.
Yeah. Wonderful. So are
First
you
thing I did
are
that
you
day.
are you a full-time professional artist and illustrator? Is that your kind of main
Yeah,
breadwinner
yeah.
thing?
So well, main job is I actually create games for the online space. So I do a lot of art for online gaming.
Oh wow.
And so on the side I do some freelance art for other gaming projects and companies like Upper Deck and such. So it's been fun. But yeah, that's only really happened in the last probably since 2020. I've been doing the kind of freelance thing on the side and
Mm.
I've been having a blast. And when you get onto projects like this, it's just like, okay, this is all I want to do. Because it's like all
Ah,
you want to do is play with your friends that you played with as a kid, right? So
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
just so
Yeah,
much fun.
exactly. Exactly. Um,
Yeah.
so I just want to have a look at a few more pieces before we let me just what we got here. We've got Orca. Orca.
That was cool.
Now
That was cool.
let's talk about that perspective on that arm there. Um,
Yeah.
we did a fabulous, and listen, I mean, you have you trained as an did you like go through art school training and things like that, or did you self teach, or how did it come about?
I kind of self-taught myself. Like I've just
Okay.
kind of always drawn and watched a lot of YouTube tutorials and just watched great artists do their
Mm,
thing and try to pick
mm,
up as much of it as I could along the
mm.
way. Yeah.
Well, I
Wow.
strongly recommend. I learned so much from our first ever artist interview back on episode 4 was Dave DeVries, and he I don't know if you've heard it, but it's worth
No, I
It's,
haven't
it's just
actually.
audio on that one because we didn't release videos. But
I just recently
um,
did.
yeah, and Dave talks about his Namor piece from Masterpieces '95, and he talks about the eye traveling through the
Hmm.
piece,
Hmm.
and how the perspective kind of plays a part in that. Now, Dave does, I believe, teach art as well, so he had a way of explaining it to us that even Luddites like us could understand it. But it makes perfect sense. So when I look at this and I think, oh, it's got a touch of the De Vries about it, I don't mean in terms of the style. I just mean in terms of the fact that I can kind of see it through that lens. I can kind of, okay, my eye starts with the arrow and it's traveling through the piece up that incredibly muscled arm, and then you get the determination on his face. You've got the movement there. With is that movement on the right with the yellow kind of? Yeah, it's just I love it. I really like it.
Yeah, yeah. This was just fun. It was fun to try. Like I love doing anything that's somewhat dynamic, and I love trying to like force perspective, like just
Mm,
anything that kind of like is coming out. It's things that like I remember in comics book, like I love when like the character would punch it out of the frame and he would
yes.
just feel 3D just for that little, just even if it's just a knuckle coming over it, you'd just be like, ooh, that's a little bit more impact.
Mm,
So I was trying to do that with this here pretty much, where like the Hawkeye's pretty much just about to shoot something out of the card. Yeah, they're always a bit tricky to play with, but when you get it, you're
oh
pretty
yeah.
happy.
I think it's fairly safe to say you nailed it. I
And
carry on, Wesley.
no, I was saying, and maybe this is, but the yellow lines, is that like lighting, or is that something coming at him, or is that just to make it?
It was it was actually you won't pick it, but he was actually standing. There's supposed to be railings on this entire room that I had
Oh
drawn
goodness,
initially.
I see that now.
Yeah, but the thing about it is that it was too noisy, and as again, I was like, oh, it was pushing away from him, and so I kind of like pushed it back and just made it more about him holding the arrow, and the background kind of just became a little bit more obscure.
The
That's seeing.
we're being joined by Keith. Keith has entered the chat.
Hey,
Um,
Keith.
so in a moment, this what this card, um, you'll have seen the hologram cards they had in the '90s, and I say they
Hmm.
had in the '90s because even though they make holograms these days, they're not the ones you had in the '90s. This would make a banging hologram card in the '90s
Yeah,
style.
that would be
You know,
cool.
Yeah.
Just like
speaking of
having his
3D.
arm
Keith,
moving through.
welcome.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey,
Good
Hey,
morning. Good
Keith.
morning. Keith, Ben, Wesley,
Nice to meet you, Keith.
Morning, Ben. We've spoken before.
Yep, we sure have.
You have. Have you been up to commission hijinks in the background? Is that
Not
what's it?
yet, but we will be.
Yeah, okay, good.
Oh dear.
Good. Ben heard it here first, clearly. Let me
Woohoo.
have a look. Are the other two on your Instagram feed? Oh, hang on a minute. I was gonna use your Instagram feed as the visual guide for this episode. There they are.
Yeah,
Right. Well, we've mentioned him. Let's talk
cool.
about vision.
yeah, this was
Yeah,
cool.
let's talk about it.
Goodness me,
Yeah, this
that's
is
quite a
fun.
piece.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is a surprising one. Everyone's reaction, everyone liking my vision. I would have thought there wouldn't be as much excitement for it, but everyone seems to enjoy it, which is, yeah, it makes me happy because I really like vision. So,
No,
yeah, it was really cool.
he is pretty cool. You know what? I'm just reading your post here, reminiscent of Dr. Manhattan. And I've never ever linked the two in my head, but of course,
Mm,
he's Marvel's Dr. Manhattan
yeah,
in
in a
many
way, it just,
respects.
Mhm.
yeah, it was. I think that's kind of
I
the
never put that
vibe.
together either.
Well, there you go.
There we go. You've enlightened us, Ben. You've enlightened us. Sorry, we're
Didn't
all
mean
so
to.
speechless at his godlike omnipotence here. I can see Wesley here. Webby Vision has been liking this for at least a month. Look at this,
Yep.
posting away.
Good man. Thank you.
He's been stalking you online. That's what it is. Keith, I should tell you that Wesley is in a car somewhere in the middle of Ohio, so we may or may not lose him for periods of this
Yeah,
podcast.
I,
Okay.
I I do apologize to everybody. I'm on my way to FanCon in Cleveland to hopefully get some more art and other stuff.
More
Good.
trouble. To
Good.
spend more money.
He's basically going to go and spend more money. That's what it
Yeah.
is.
Very
Fair
nice.
enough. And then the last one. Now, good friend of ours, Amanda, is a big fan of this character.
Oh, Hawkeye.
Bye.
But no, we've done Hawkeye.
Oh.
Don't.
Oh.
That's a whole thing.
Silly me.
Private joke. You realise she's going to send you something bad in the mail. But Bullseye. So, did you? I imagine you'd have jumped at this one. Can you remember the order that you for? Okay, I want to do this character. I want to do this character. Do you remember which was the first one you went for?
I think Angel was definitely first one I went for. Bullseye would have been second or third. I love Daredevil. Like I said, like Elektra is like my kind of PC, I suppose. So again, the only character that was on there that it was in that universe was Bullseye, and I was like, yep, grabbing him. So he was fun, and I wanted to have a lot more fun with this one, but I had to tone it down a bit because it was starting to look a little too graphic with the splatter in the background was starting to look like something else.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh,
I
yes.
tried to keep it a little more graffiti-ish as opposed to blood-like, which is what I was trying to get away with. But yeah.
Are you trying to tell me there's a much more R-rated version of this somewhere within the digital ether?
Yeah, of that background. I might have that still saved somewhere. I'd have to find it. But yeah. But yeah, I thought it'd be funny. And I wanted to go a little more graphic with him as well because he has these like such dynamic like the circular stripes on him. And I thought let's just go really simple and use that graphic and put it into the background and make him the target of his own bullseye, like make him the bullseye. So I thought that'd be kind of a little fun.
Oh, I really like it. I really like that. So tell us, how many cards did you end up physically? Because they're all on card signatures, the original art ones, I believe. How many cards did you end up signing? And has your wrist recovered yet?
My wrist is fine. I actually did knock them over pretty quickly, like in an afternoon. I don't know if you know, but on the checklist, it seems my ones were like super short print, so I didn't get as many as everyone else got. So my wrist was fine.
Wow.
So that's
okay.
Yeah. So I got a few out there.
Okay.
But yeah, but that was still an unreal moment to be signed. Like when I first got the cards, and I thought, oh, they look amazing. Like how nice are these cards? Like I knew like the community would love them. They just look so good. And then I was just signing away, going like, I can't believe this is happening. So yeah, it was another awesome moment.
In either of your boxes, did you pull one of your own autographs? That would have been a bit weird, wasn't it?
That would have been very weird.
Yeah.
That would have been pretty cool. I actually pulled something a bit better, well, a lot better. I pulled a Dave Palumbo Human Torch auto.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was like, I'll take that. Thank you.
Wow.
So I was very happy with that. Yeah, I lucked out. Both my boxes, I pulled two orders. I got the Amadeus Cho and the Human Torch. So happy days. It's pretty cool.
That is good. That is good. They are people are having, I mean, you must have seen this and experienced it as well. People are having a ball opening this set.
It's a lot of fun.
I mean, they've landed it. I mean, we just had our review show came out. I mean, honestly, we were falling over ourselves to share how excited we are and show stuff on the screen. I couldn't keep up.
It's true.
So, and I can't remember the last time. I honestly can't remember the last time a set had that kind of level of giddiness about it. Because sets often have hype, but there's not often a collective just enjoyment of it. Whatever level you're collecting, because it's so accessible to folks as well with the price point and the blasters that are available in American retail. So.
It kind of did like a 180 because I felt like before the set came out, there was a little bit of apprehension about it. It's like checklist is huge. There's so many parallels, and everyone was kind of a little afraid of it. And then when it came out, everyone was like, "Okay, this is amazing. This is not what we expected."
Very much.
And yeah, so again, it's awesome to be part of that. So that's so cool.
I'm curious. So when you mentioned that you definitely collected some cards when you were a kid, how have you been have you kind of kept in touch with trading cards? Do you still collect them, or did you come back into it with this set? Have you?
Yeah, I kind of came back. So as a kid, like I said, didn't have the means to go and collect entire base sets and things. But I still have all the panels that I had. Like I only had like maybe 6 or 7 sheets. Like I had some of the Amazing Spider-Man. I had some of Flair Ultra 94. I had a few Flair, like just random cards that I just picked through friends that I would do a sketch for, and they'd be like, "Trade you." I'm like, "I trade you a sketch for a card." So I did things like that back in school days. So yeah, once COVID hit and eBay is around, it makes it very easy to go back and collect those sets that you wanted as a kid. So in that time, I've collected a fair bit. So
Yeah,
I've almost got the ones, I think I've got all the ones that I had, what I wanted as a child, and now I'm just starting to move outside of that. So
wow.
yeah,
Okay.
it's been really, really fun.
There's been, and I think I say this without an exaggeration, there's been a lot since then.
Mm,
Notably in the last few years, it just seems to have. Well, we had a drought, and then last year we had like, was it 18 releases last year, which was more
yeah,
than in the
it's a
last
lot.
like 4 years preceding. So yeah, it's just a bit bonkers at the moment, in a good way, because there's something for everyone, I think.
Mm.
What's the scene like in Australia with that kind of thing? I
Yeah,
mean,
there's
I'm never aware of how big the hobby is there.
unfortunately there's really I don't feel it here. Well, especially not in Sydney. I know that, like, for instance, the cars that I purchased were from companies that are in Melbourne. And there seem to be 2 distributors there, so maybe there's more of a scene in
Mm.
Melbourne for cards. I don't really see it for Sydney or Australia. A lot of Pokemon. Everyone loves Pokemon, but
Yeah, yeah.
Marvel cards unfortunately have fallen away. Similarly with the comic book shops, like there's only 2 in Sydney, which is a bit sad.
Only
Um,
2, because it's a
yeah,
big old city, isn't it? Yeah.
it
Wow.
is.
Okay.
It's massive, but I
It's so
guess there's
sad.
just not as much. It is. It's really sad. So I went back and started collecting books just to make sure they stay open. I'm just like, to keep this going and trying to get my boys, like, they're reading their books. It's just like, yeah, this can't go away. It's too good.
Mm.
But yeah, there isn't a big scene for it, unfortunately. But we'll see. That maybe I do feel like it's coming back. There seems to, it might be just me being with the online space and seeing kind of like myself seeing like what's happening. Maybe that's also happening with
Yeah.
others in Sydney, and maybe the community will kind of come back a little bit.
Mm.
I hope so. It'd be awesome
Mm.
because yeah.
What comics are you reading right now?
Right now,
Or most recently, even?
yeah, still reading Wolverine, Transformers, reading Gods. What else is there? There's a
Who has
few.
the Transformers property right now? Is it IDW?
I believe so. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's IDW, and it's really good too.
The
It's
art's
really really good.
amazing in it.
Yeah, so good. Yeah, I've been loving that. I think that's probably my favorite read at the moment, and I've still been getting Ninja Turtles because I think it's a good gateway for my kids to get into it. They got Saturday morning cartoons.
Last Ronin was just announced.
Yeah, right.
Finally gonna happen.
That's gonna be awesome.
Yes, it's gonna. Yes, I'm envisioning like a John Wick Ninja Turtles movie.
Can you? Geez. Yes, please. Yeah, let's keep. That'll be awesome. I can't wait for that. If they do a great job, happy days.
I
Yeah,
can't lie, I
yeah.
don't have a
It's.
clue what you're talking about, but I'm going to just carry on and just admire
I'll
from
grab it.
afar.
I'll grab it for you.
So, yeah,
That
there you
there.
go.
Okay.
Last road.
Right.
Are your boys? Have you got your boys into into anything yet? Have they pulled over and started reading or collecting anything?
At the moment, it's just Ninja Turtles. So just because the reading level isn't there just yet to get them into, as soon as
Mhm.
they can, we're getting right into X-Men. So as soon as they're ready for it. But yeah, for now we're sticking with Ninja Turtles.
I was like that with my daughter with Star Wars, and I jumped the gun, and she watched them um when she was way too young to watch them, and I've put her off Star Wars for life now.
Oh no.
Yeah, the first 3 were fine, but then we went back and did the prequels, and when you go back and look at the prequels, you realise that Episode 2 pretty much descends into a full-on war movie in the last half an hour.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And it's pretty full on. And she was only 4. So I think I'm gonna be paying the bills for that therapy in years to come. So she's 8 now, and she still can't handle much live action stuff. But yeah. Anyway,
Oh,
I
dear.
digress. Are there shows? Are there like cons or anything like that in Australia?
Yes, there is. Yeah, so luckily there is a bit of a convention scene here. There's not as many. Like I think we have three main conventions that happen in Sydney, and those similar ones go around state by state. So yeah, it's about three. So one's an anime one, and then there's Oz Comic Con and Supernova, which is the bigger one, that happens in June, July, I think. So yeah, so that's pretty much what you get. But it's a lot of anime. I feel like in Australia, it's a lot of manga, anime, and comics. Yeah, sadly, don't get much of a presence, which is
Yeah, it's the
again,
same here. Same here. Really.
yeah.
Have you taken a trip over before for a show?
No, I haven't, but I am contemplating it.
So we need to
Uh,
crowdfund you and Ian. Got it.
Yeah, that's just thinking the same thing.
it would be awesome because I have gone over. So in 2008, when I first tried to crack into the comic book industry, I went to San Diego Con, and that was quite an amazing experience. Especially coming from little old Australia, where our conventions are a quarter of the size, or if not less than that.
Mm.
Yeah, so that was amazing. So to go back to the States and go to another con would be a thrill. That'd be so cool. Yeah.
I feel like there's a story there. The phrase when I first tried to break into the comics. So tell us about that experience, and unless it was too horrendous and upsetting for you to revisit.
No, it wasn't really. It was actually a great experience. Like, funnily enough, so what had happened is there was Supernova Convention here in Sydney, and David Finch was one of the artists that were here, and I love Finch's work, like master. So I was really awesome, like happily to show him my portfolio there, and he was like, "Yep, sweet, go for it." So yeah, I was like, "All right, booking my tickets." I was luckily able to get a ticket, go to the States, and did the whole thing. But I think the thing is, I don't think I was quite ready just yet. Like I felt like I still needed a little more, probably like another year of kind of developing my skill set to get there, which is fair enough. But at the same time, kind of life got into it in the way, and I had to get a legitimate job, and I had to focus, and so I had to kind of push it away, and then I kind of fell back into art by accident when my boss said, "Hey, I want to do a comic," and I was like, "Hey, I've always wanted to do those." So yeah, and then I've just been drawing ever since. So it's really weird. Like my, yeah, I don't know how to explain it, but I kind of like left art and then came back to art, and somehow I've done Marvel product, which again is awesome. So
It's
yeah,
kind of drawn you back in. I think it's like you're orbiting, and its gravitational pull just won't let you
yeah,
go.
which I'm more than happy to be pulled into.
Yeah, no, that must be
If you
Yeah,
got your own run and had your pick, what would it be for? What line?
comic.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. I'd have to say X-Men. Just because Jim Lee was such an influence, and the X-Men series, number one, like I've pretty much read all of
No,
those.
no spoilers. Are you watching 97 right now?
I am, and oh my God.
Yeah,
That's all I'll say.
Yes. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
I kept hearing
Uh,
all week about it, and I kept my Taylor's was supposed to be get together and watch it, but I couldn't wait. I watched it last night without her. She's gonna be mad at me, but
This
I
is
just
no
keep hearing
longer a
about it
kids
over
show.
and
That's all I
over.
can say.
I
This
was
is
Yeah.
going to
no
say
longer.
she's driving right
Wow.
now, so be careful
Yeah.
she
So
doesn't slam you into a wall.
if we wreck, you know
Having just
why.
admitted to watching it. Listen, I never saw the '90s one, so I've got quite a lot of watching to do before I can catch up to whatever it is that you all just saw. So Keith's quietly judging me, not so quietly actually.
No,
Moving
it's
on.
so good. It's so good. I just love that they've really like done such a great job, like taking the old and making it so new, and yet keeping it in that same vein. Like everyone's so happy with it. So more,
It's
please.
very similar to our conversation with Upper Deck over Platinum. I could tell that they really had a lot of fun making this product, and I can tell the same thing happened with X-Men 97. The people involved with it were the right people and have been having a lot of fun making it, and we're the beneficiaries of that.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's the vibe I'm getting with it. You can always tell. I love it when a plan comes together. You know, they're the kind of, sitting there going, "Oh, we
Give me a
knocked that out
cigar.
apart, didn't we, lads?" Yeah. So we already mentioned that you're going to be on Flare because you did the Flare pieces first. Now, I know that if you tell us too much about Flare, a bolt of lightning will come out of the sky from Upper Deck, and probably, there'll be a smoking chair where you once were.
Yep.
So let me find a way to ask some questions. Can you tell us how many pieces you have in Flare? You think you're allowed to say that?
I don't know.
Oh.
The NDA contract is quite long,
Oh,
and
okay,
I'll be
fair
honest,
enough.
I've not read every page.
Oh. So it's like one of those Apple things where you just scroll through loads and they press
Yeah,
Yeah, you
begin.
went
just
through
like,
it. Money, yes.
yeah. They just said
Send
work
it
on
off.
X-Men, yes. Blah blah blah, yes.
Well, it's coming very, very soon, is my
Yeah.
understanding. So, we'll have to have you back on, and you can tell us all about that as well. Because
Here's a question I know you can comment on. Have you been given any sketch blanks for the set? APs.
No, I've not. So I found out after the fact. I wasn't aware of how it worked, but it seems that only if you do sketches for the set, you get APs.
right.
So I haven't done any sketch cards for these
Why,
sets, so I
why are you
don't get
not?
any APs.
Why?
I wasn't even aware that sketch cards existed when I was doing these
I
cards.
was gonna ask
Yeah.
if you'd ever experienced or done them
Oh
at all.
man, we are gonna have some fun together.
Hey, ever since then, I've done one so far as just as a private commission. Actually, it was like as a giveaway. I just did for fun when the set came out, and they're a lot of fun. They're fun to play with. It's very interesting to try and work with very small amount of canvas. But yeah, they're good. They're good fun. So if that opportunity comes around, I'll definitely put my hand up. So.
Well, I'll tell you now. There's no money in it.
Yeah,
Sketch artist.
that's what I
no.
have heard.
When you get to us, there's money in it, but
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, yeah. Well, we are going to be knocking up some a second batch of podcast sketch stock soon that we'll be sending for free to any artist who's worked on an official Marvel set. So if you'd like some of those, send your name and address and a check for $9.99 to Admail 54 Plymouth, as the adverts used to go. But no, we'll hook you up. But it is interesting listening to artists who found it very difficult to work at that scale. Joe Gisco did some for Masterpieces 2016, and I think he did some for Premiere as well. And if I remember correctly, I don't think he enjoyed the experience of working at that scale. It was very much out of his comfort zone.
Yeah, it's tricky. It is tricky because you're limited. You have to be very careful with the amount of detail you put in there, and obviously what medium you're using. Like for instance, I've just recently started doing oil painting, so I've been trying to focus on turning all my digital work and just leaning completely into oils. And I thought I'd try and attempt it on a card, but I thought I'll start with just felt tip pens and textures and pencils first, just to get a feel for the size and how much detail you can put in before I start trying to put a paintbrush on it. Because I have seen like Miles's work and Dan DeSanto's work, but those guys are masters at their craft, and they do some amazing work on such a small canvas. So I'd love to try it, but right now I'm just like, let's just use markers for the moment.
It is a challenge, from what I understand. Sorry, Wesley.
I was just gonna say, is there anything that you do to get yourself in like the creative mindset, like a process you do to get you in the right headspace to before you do your art or anything like that?
Yeah, I pretty much look at other awesome artists, like the artists that inspire me. So if there's like before I do anything, like for instance, like I was saying before I started the work on Upper Deck, I just tried to feed off of so much Hildebrandt work, and even the Flea, because I love the Flea 94 X-Men set. So I was just absorbing as much of that in and just kind of like things that I like, things that I wanted to try. It's all about kind of like taking that inspiration and then seeing if I can kind of like vomit out something that looks close to it. But yeah, it's just that. So I try and get in that mindset and then make myself a coffee and off I go. That's pretty much how it goes.
See, I
Yeah.
wasn't sure what the answer was going to be. I thought, well, maybe he's got like some sort of real shred metal mixtape that he listens to for half an hour before he does it. You know, because I was like thinking, what could it possibly be?
Yeah. It's pretty much that. It's actually a lot lately. I've been working, listening to yourselves and other like card rips happening in the background while I work, and just like, ooh, they've pulled a very nice golden treasures. All right, I'll just keep going. So,
That is quite fun. No, one of the artists who's been on a few times, Michael Munshaw, when he first reached out to us, we were audio only, and he'd put it on while he was doing his sketch cards, and he was like, and we were only like 8 episodes in or something like that. We were like, what? Yeah,
it's
you know.
it's good. It's good. It's kind of one of the things that I've actually really enjoyed about listening in and kind of like understanding the community is just seeing what you guys enjoy about the set. And actually, I've really enjoyed seeing how much the art is appreciated, and how important it is. Like it's almost like I know it's a card collecting community, but it almost feels like it's like an art collecting community because the art seems to be so important. And like I love seeing like your opinions on things, like especially like in the last episode 202 where you guys shouted me out on 2, and I was just like, what? They liked it. Yes.
No, it is good. I've got to ask you this, and I'm not being cheeky, and this is a slightly politically charged question. How do you feel about the fact that you're not credited on the back of the cards that your art is on?
No comment.
Okay, fair enough. Because on your behalf, I'm
say that
outraged.
Yeah, we covered that.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah. I do like that my name is on the autographed cards. I'll say that. That's cool. It's good
Yeah.
to see my name there.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Yeah, no, that is
But
good.
yeah.
I mean, the thing is, you've kind of got to do it because some of the, I mean, no disrespect to some of the artists' autographs, but some of them, it's like, who the is that? So you kind of got to have the name there a little bit to get, you know, and obviously on the back it says you've received the autograph of Ben Brady. You know, so
Yeah.
it is pretty cool in that regard. But some of them, and if it didn't say, one of the most challenging things, because sketch cards have been around in Marvel cards since '97, and they had a boom period when Rittenhouse was making sets from 2015 to 2016. Sorry, 2005 to 2015. A lot of those sets, the artist doesn't put their name on them. It's just their signature. And they're often tiny little signatures. And they won't be a full signature as well. Often they'll be just like an M with a circle, which is, I can't remember who does that. And Munshaw is M and he puts 2 because it's M, 2 M's. But some of them are just you literally can't tell. So at least with yours, we can go and have a look and we can tell who it is, because you haven't got that many pieces in the set. When you've got a sketch card artist who's been in a set and they've had 100 sketches in there, and you're like, who's that? Who's that by? I mean, some of them are very identifiable in terms of their style. You can tell straight away. It doesn't matter if it's signed or not. You can tell, oh yeah, that's such and such. But some of them, it's always a fun game. You'll always see that game happening.
That would be difficult. I think the sketch card artists should just write their name as their signature. It'd be like, so I think that'd be like more important. But like, it is me.
Yeah, I mean, some of them do on the back. I mean, the thing is, I understand it because they've often got. Oh, by the way, happy Monday. Because it's still Sunday where we are.
Thank you.
But it's just become Monday where you are.
Sure has.
It's really freaked me out, that concept. You're in tomorrow.
Yeah.
You're in the future, Ben.
I'm in the future. It's great here. You guys will be here soon.
When will then be now?
Yeah, tell us he's going to win the lottery. But the you know what? I've completely lost the plot of what I was talking to, and Wesley is so amazed by the fact that you're now in Monday. He's dropped off the podcast. So
he went to plaid. Yeah, he totally went to plaid.
Exactly. So what's next, Ben? In terms of, obviously you're going to be on Flare, but Flare and Platinum you did a little while ago. So is there anything else in the pipeline that you've worked on since for Upper Deck? You can't tell us what, obviously, but are we going to see you on other sets, do we think?
I'm done stuff for Upper Deck.
Okay.
That's about all I can say.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Was this all done
I'm
at the
not.
same time?
These were, yeah. So I
So you
kind
didn't
of
know what they were going on to. They just said, "Hey, make us art," and you didn't know what was going to be used for flare, what was going to be used for platinum. Is that correct?
kind of, yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
in a way. There was a set that they were kind
That's
of assigned to, but not necessarily the set that they're going to,
that's
if
something
that
new they've
makes
been
sense.
doing lately. We talked about that
Yeah,
with them.
Interesting.
yeah. So I think it all depends on like it must be like, okay, this project's going along, we're gonna drop this one, we're gonna use the art for this instead.
Yeah, this project's
I think
buggered. We got to move it to this. Yeah.
yeah, I think something along those lines. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. And so yeah, I would be more than happy to keep doing this because
Does
it's
that change your
great.
perspective when they come out to you? Like if you knew that these pieces were for platinum and those pieces were for flare, would it change the direction you took on anything?
It might have a little bit with flair, only because
Because you have
my
roots in
memory of
flare.
flair,
Yep.
yeah, my memory of flair is a little different. And the art is very different. To kind of, I think the Hillenbrandts had art in there. I can't remember, but I remember it being a lot more dynamic, a lot more like different and stranger than the other sets.
So
Forgive me if I'm
flare,
being
how
wrong.
I remember it, if and Ian will stop me the second I'm wrong. I believe that was the first time they applied digital art on top of original art.
Ah, that might be
Yeah,
why.
I think
That
they
was the
had
first
some.
time
Yeah,
they did any kind of
yeah,
digital aspect in
Interesting. So
94
that
at
might
least.
be,
yeah.
that
94,
makes
95, and
sense.
also they went a little bit left field with just some of the character choices and just the style. It was a very different set compared to the other stuff that had come out. It was and it was nothing unusual in that. It's just that it was the first time it's done it. So a lot of people think of Flair as a little bit of a one where the art's just a little bit crazier, or the interpretations of the characters might be a bit crazier, or the
Mm.
characters even in the set are a bit crazier. Because with Flair 2019, that was the first Flair set in almost 25 years, and there's characters in there I don't think I'd seen since the 90s. And
Mm.
artists, actually,
Interesting.
Dave DeVries came back for that set, and he had
Oh,
some
wow.
original pieces in that set. And I remember him saying that um, one of the pieces is directly connected to one of the pieces he did for Masterpieces 95.
Oh, that's cool.
So when you look at Flair, I'll tell you what it is. Flair, the Wonder Man card in Flair,
Okay.
the Wonder Man, it's that Dave DeRuisse, that force perspective, and Wonder Man's coming at you. And in his sunglasses, you can see the Carnage image from his Masterpieces 95.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, I gotta
So,
go in
That
the
okay.
closet now.
Yeah, same. I want to do
oh
the same
yeah,
thing.
Uh,
it's
Oh,
it's
that's so
it's
cool.
bonkers. You can because yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Carnage. I got me doubting
I love
myself now,
stuff like that.
but yeah, and I love little things like that. So are you? I don't think you have put anything in any of these, but wouldn't it be great to put a little Easter egg type thing in one of your little compositions for Upper Deck?
There,
You're trying to think if you have done one now, haven't you?
there may be one. Just-
Hey, I love it. I love this stuff.
that's
I love
awesome.
this
there,
stuff.
there may be one. Yeah.
Yeah, Dave Palumbo talked about, and obviously he's done an awful lot more pieces because he did the whole Masterpieces set. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's
What a
stuff
set.
all over that set where he's put little bits, and little nods to this and little references to that, and it's beautiful spotting them because you know I've spoken to him on this podcast 3 times now, and even then you can't kind of get to every single piece and talk about every single kind of composition and things like that. If they came to you with a masterpieces set, what would you say?
Oh, Jesus. I'd say, are you joking? Are you sure about this?
You sure about that?
I was
Have you
like,
got? Does it come with health insurance?
yeah. Oh, dude, I don't think I'd at that level yet, but of course that would be quite an honor. I'm not anywhere near that level. When you're coming off of like Dan DeSantos's work, who like is just he's awesome. Like I've actually been learning from
Mm,
his like tutorials on oil
mm.
painting. Like I've actually been trying to learn directly from him, and I'm actually doing a mentorship with him at the moment, just to
Oh
kind of
wow.
like, yeah, just I really want to kind of lean into oils and his work, like from masterpieces, had me looking at that going like, and everyone was mentioning how it looked digital. and it was that look of it, just this like polish that was so
Mm.
crisp. And you were like, oh, it's a digital oil. I was like, no, that's what you can do with oils. So it's like when I saw that, I was like, okay, I
Yeah.
need to do that.
Yeah.
I need, I like, it's like, you look at your artists and like every artist kind of sets the bar higher. And then I saw Dan's work and I was like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
that's the bar now. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Because what I like about because there are some sketch card artists who do work in oils. Charles Hall does, and some of the stuff he can do at the sketch card scale is just mind blowing. But I always like the fact that it often looks quite organic. Oh, you haven't got a Charles
I
Hall.
just posted this yesterday.
Hang on a minute. No, well,
Oh,
yesterday I was
nice.
looking after a sick 8-year-old. So, wow. Okay.
That's a sketch card. Wow.
Yeah.
So he used the original MU stock to sketch over and do this storm.
Well, more than sketch, dear, but yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Oh, we've got to get him
Wow.
on.
Here,
We've
cover
got to
this
have
ugly
him on.
mug. There we go. Look at how much better that looks.
So did you directly commission him, Keith?
No, he just throws stuff out there.
Okay. On his
Randomly.
Instagram feed.
It's just what he was working on.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow. We need to get him on. I quite like to talk to Charles Hall.
He's a little tough, but I wouldn't mind getting him on too.
Yeah. Anyway, I love this. We've got a guest, and we're talking about getting someone else on. Sorry,
Yeah.
Ben.
No.
Such jerks.
Go on ahead. Go on ahead.
But what the interesting thing about oils is they always feel quite organic. Organic's the word I want to use, and I'm not I'm not an art critic or anything. It's just the way it feels. But when you look at Dan's work on Masterpieces 22, it's like that shiny buffed chrome finish you get on hot cars that have just had like a $60,000 paint job. Yes, it's so clean that it looks like it's digital, but it's not. And it's just like,
Yeah.
so when you listen, I'm not going to be subscribing to his oil painting things because I've got no interest whatsoever in creating art. The world doesn't need to see that. It's bad enough they have to put up with me doing this every week. But when you get the secret of it, tell us. Come back and tell us. Do 200 hours worth of study, and then come back and give us the York Notes version and say, right, you got to do this.
Yeah, I think that might be the secret. 200,000 hours of study.
It probably is. It
Do
probably
it a
is.
lot.
Yeah, it's not one of these things you learn overnight, is it?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Have you? Well, listen. Nothing's quite prepared you for the fact that this set is. What are we 6 weeks in now, Keith? Maybe on this set.
It's very
6
fair.
weeks in, people are still buying it. It's still very much front and center spotlight. I don't know how many, because obviously this podcast spawns from the Facebook groups that I set up 6 years ago. So obviously I see all the Facebook stuff, but obviously there's Discords now, and people are doing stuff on Instagram, people are doing stuff on YouTube. But what we've tended to see over the last year is new sets come out so quickly because they're catching up after COVID, that what's on stage doesn't get much time on stage. It's pushed off by the next thing. I would say Platinum is probably, even though we've had a couple of releases and an EPAC release,
it's holding.
It's holding, and I would argue it's held longer than Masterpieces 22 did.
And we haven't seen EPAC yet.
And that's what I was building up to. Have you?
Oh,
you can use it. You can't ship to your EPAC, but here's because they do the full transfer. You can't transfer it back once you've done it, so it's a one-way street. Transfer it. The cards physically don't change the warehouse. All it is that they're now in another company's system, and they'll ship anywhere.
I did not know that. That is brilliant.
In 3 to 12 months.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say they're the fastest. Plus, you've got to get them to Australia. Here's the thing: you're probably going to regret me telling you that when you look at your credit card bill in 6 months' time.
Yeah, that's the fear.
You've got to be careful with EPAC.
That is the fear.
But anyway, I guess what I'm saying, when EPAC comes out, you will see it everywhere. People are going to feast on this set.
Yeah.
On EPAC.
And because it speaks to so many sports guys, and there's a lot of sports guys that are flipping out about it already.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they've modeled it on sports-based products. And, that alchemy they've been trying with various degrees of success to do for best part of a decade now. And I think this one, they've probably got the closest to nailing it. They're crossing the streams and, Gozerian is more than happy to stick around and dance for you. Wow, that was weird. Why did I say that? Anyway,
I love the reference
no,
though.
because I watched it. I watched it last week, Ghostbusters. I was just like, I just need
Yeah.
to get away. I just need. I was like, sorry. I always said to my wife, I said, sorry, Beth, I just need to go and do something that's not childcare, but an hour and a half. I might go and have a nap, or I might go and watch Ghostbusters. I came in here, I watched Ghostbusters. I went back in. Right. What shall we do next? You know, you just need
Nice.
that. You just need that break. You'll know. You've got two. You've got two
Yes.
boys. You'll know what
Yep.
that's like.
Yeah,
You just
100%
you just
understand
need
that.
to be able to go off, watch Ghostbusters, come back, and it's like, right, what shall we play now? Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, EPAC will again. You will. I wouldn't be at all surprised if you're invited to come on to various live things where people are opening up on EPAC, and you know,
Yeah.
it's a bit of a party because we got to do is screen share. You
Yeah.
don't even
That's
have the
pretty cool.
wrappers. But there will be other parallels of the cards that you haven't
Mm.
seen yet. So there'll be other physical formats. So as well as the 28 different versions of Captain Marvel that exist,
Oh
there'll
wow. So
probably
there'll
be
be
another two
more.
or three. Yeah.
A minimum of 2 different.
Yeah. I
Wow.
reckon you'll have at
Okay.
least two, maybe three with this one.
I might have to go up to 18
Yeah.
panel instead of the
I
9.
think you might have to. Yeah. Well, I think you can probably go up to 18 without bankrupting yourself too much and getting too deep into the low numbers.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you've got at least 9 or 10 before you even get to the numbered stuff.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. The tricky thing for me is actually not the cards. Getting the cards is fine. It's just the shipping from the States is what kills me.
Yeah.
So I have to try and find a seller that has more than one card when I start picking up cards because
I'm
yeah,
still,
otherwise.
and you don't have to comment on this. I know you probably shouldn't. I'm still shocked that Upper Deck doesn't give you guys some. Hey, thanks for making it. Here's a box.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It could affect like the rarity and because there's of like in a set like this one, there's so many artists. I wonder if that would skew things. Like, would someone be upset if an artist pulled the one of one? Like, it's like that should have
I
gone to
don't
the
think so.
collectors.
I don't think so. I
No,
don't think so. I mean, once the boxes are made, whether
I
they're,
suppose.
you know, I mean, like I said, I come from the live entertainment space originally, and you know, you've got 1,600 seats in your theatre. If you
I mean,
choose to sell 1,200 of them and comp 400 of them to like influencers and PR people,
that was
then
my thought.
you
They're
know,
giving them to guys with cameras.
Mm. Well, I wouldn't complain if I got one. I'll say that.
well, well, well,
Be quite nice. But
Jason,
either way,
add that to the list. Okay,
it's all right.
comps.
I'm buying them anyway, so it's just like, yep, cool. Get a
Yeah.
freebie, happy days.
So basically, right, I've saved up the money they paid me for these paintings 4 years ago. Do you still call them paintings when they're digital? You don't, do you? Artwork? Create? No, what?
Yeah, I did
Yeah, I
digital.
guess
I
they
call them
are.
just digital art, I
Yeah,
guess.
okay.
Do they
Yeah,
all
you do
start as
bit.
digital?
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Mainly, well, these ones mainly did because I think for me, obviously, working digitally is a lot quicker. And I wanted to make sure, like I said, I could do as good a job as possible in the limited time as I could.
Mm,
And so I did everything digitally. But had I known that there's such a big like community that loves the original art and like even preliminary sketches and things, I would have definitely have done those at
Now you're
least
thinking.
yeah, but I've kept this in mind for anything in the future. So this is why, like I said, I'm moving from digital to oils because, and also with the rise of AI and its kind of influence, that there is kind of a little bit of a confusion on what is digital art and what is AI art. It's starting to get really hard. And so for me personally, I enjoy traditional art and the fact that I feel like traditional art is now becoming even more valuable because of AI art. People appreciate it more. Um, it makes me go like, even if it takes me longer, I'm going to enjoy the process a lot more, and the audience is going to appreciate it a lot more too. So yeah, so I'm loving it right now.
but
It's
I
a lot
think
of
you've
fun.
got legs with that as well, though, because you can put out sketchbooks.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm.
you can productize is the wrong word, but it kind of is. I mean,
Merchandise.
Mm.
sell yourself a bit more. You
Yeah,
know, you can sell the prelims through an art rep or a deal or whatever. You could do sketchbooks. You could put out, you know, prints of the, if you couldn't get the original, you can make prints of them. Do you see what I mean? You know, that kind of thing.
yeah.
There's
I
a whole
don't think you
world
can
of
do
place.
the sorry to interrupt, but the prints I don't think I can do. anything that I've done for Upper Deck, unless
No,
you can
no,
only
no,
sell
not specifically.
original
No,
works.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's correct.
yeah. But I could do like I suppose fan art and commissioned work should
Yeah.
be okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, you
If
have to
you
always
had a
look out
doodle
for
on a
that as well.
napkin of the Captain Marvel and said that this is a prelim, I'd be buying it.
Well, that
I'm
was
just saying.
the interesting. That was an interesting thing because, like, I did have like the devil on my shoulder at one point and just said I could just sketch one and
Go
sell it and
backwards.
say it was, but I was
Yeah.
like, nah, that just seems wrong. I couldn't do that
Yeah.
to someone.
Well,
So
to
yeah.
this day, so Dave Palumbo, thank you, Dave, again for this. Before he sold the rest of them. So basically, with Masterpieces 2020 and 22, you could get the prelims, and Dave's were on 5x7 Masonite, and you got them by redemption. And once they got them and they were sent out, it was all completely blind. You didn't know which one you were going to get. And then the one for the character I collect, Black Cat, popped up on eBay. Someone saw it for me and snapped it up for me within minutes. So I was lucky enough
Oh
to get
wow.
that. So I got that. The original art is out of my price range, and I know where that lives, and it's in a very good home. But Dave, bless him, sent me the transfer that he did on Finn kind of Vellum, that he did to put the sketch onto the Masonite to then do the prelim, and then he subsequently then blind bagged and sold the rest of those transfer prelims on MCCW. But I know from looking at his and other kind of blog posts from when he first started it, he did like index cards for each character, and he sketched out,
Oh
you know,
wow.
little things, and he wrote notes and things like that. And he also had a song that went with each character.
Oh
So
wow.
Donny Coltwider did a wonderful blog series working with Dave, where each thing you got like these were the songs, and this is how they relate to the piece, and all this sort of stuff. So Black Cats was all mine by Portishead. But
Oh,
there was
that's cool.
such a variety of music. Anyway, there's a photo of this stack of index cards that was on one of the early pieces that came out promoting the set. And on the top of it is the little index card for Black Cat. One of these days, I'm going to have to convince Dave if he wants to part with that to come my way as well.
That's so
He
cool.
he says dropping a massive hint opening in public. Dave, if you've still got them, you've got a home for them. But that might be part of his own personal kind of collection of stuff.
They might be in the fireplace though.
They might be in the fireplace. He might have used them for the insulation on the floor of his new studio that
Oh,
he built.
let's hope
So,
not.
anyway, Ben, this has been fantastic. I love talking to Australians. We should get more Australians on.
Yeah, we're
But
all
for the
right.
fact
We're an
that
all right
I
bunch.
don't think there are many Australians in RB. I mean, I know of one sketch card artist in Australia. He's on the other side. He's in Perth, called
Okay.
Brent Scotchmer. His name is,
Okay.
and he's done loads of Star Wars stuff. And he talks about the fun of being in Australia and working on like top Star Wars stuff as a sketch card
That'd be pretty
artist.
awesome.
He was on the there's a podcast called the Rebel Base Card Podcast who do Star. Basically, it's like this but for Star Wars
Okay. Yeah.
cards, and he was interviewed on that, and that's a fascinating listen as well. But he's also interviewed in the most recent issue of Non-Sport Update magazine. I can't believe I'm promoting another Australian artist
Where are
while
you
we're
going?
talking to this Australian artist.
Hey,
What's
we
going
need
on?
help. There
Well,
aren't
yeah,
many of us.
exactly. So we know there's at least two artists working in trading cards today from Australia. I'm sure there's more of them. So hopefully we'll have another one on at some point. Ben, you're probably going to go to bed now, aren't you? Because it's like almost half
Yeah,
past midnight. Yeah.
there. I was actually working on a painting just before this, so I probably have to go back there
Okay.
and clean my brushes, and then I'll go to bed. Yes.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll let you go and do that. Don't hang up just yet. We'll just simply kind of end the podcast because I want to tell you something after we finish.
No, you're right.
But Ben, this is wonderful. Where can people find you online if they want to like look at your stuff or hit you up for a commission? Or I mean, I'm assuming you do commissions for people.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I definitely do. Yeah, you could find me pretty much at my handle or whatever you call it is BradoArt, so BRADO art. And that's on Instagram and Twitter and ArtStation. But I'm pretty active on Instagram, so just say hi. I'm always around and always happy for a chat. So yeah.
Great. I love it. Well, we'll put the links to all that in the show notes, and we'll link to your YouTube and Instagram and Twitter and MyFace and
Yeah,
all those things.
all that jazz. Yeah.
Marvelous. All right, Ben. Ben, can I ask you, please, if you wouldn't mind, would you like to sign off to our listeners in a normal way that we do? And I'll just say g'day.
Enjoy collecting.
Okay, marvelous. What's the Australian for goodbye that matches with g'day at the beginning? Is there an Australian like stereotypical
Ca-
Australian goodbye?
Catch you later. Later? We just say later.
Later. Okay, fair enough.
Later.
All right. Later.
Later.